I get to respond to.
Unemployment continuing to be a major concern in our part of the state. What can Congress do specifically to improve the situation?
Stop voting for jobs with Colombia, Panama, and South Korea. It's real simple. These jobs have been shipped offshore. It's wrong. It's destructive. All you have to do is look at our steel mill right here in Steubenville and look at the fact that it's being cut up and sold off for scrap. The kind of jobs that we need are manufacturing jobs. Bill Johnson doesn't believe that manufacturing is a way to get success in this district. It's the only thing. It's the only thing we have. It's what we're known for. This is a blue-collar area. It's not Wall Street. It's Main Street. That's what we need to do.
All right, this question, they don't work on this end either. This question is for Mr. Wilson. A growing number of Americans are concerned that the price of a college education is quickly growing out of reach. Where does the federal government's student loan program fit into this picture?
My opponent, Bill Johnson, voted twice in the Ryan budget to raise interest on student loans for kids trying to go to school, and secondly, to cut 45% of the Pell Grants out of the opportunity for children to go to school. I think that's where it starts. It starts with doing the right things and giving kids opportunities. I think everybody should have a chance to get a college education, and I really believe that's the only way to stimulate our economy in this area. My opponent voted to raise the interest on student loans and to cut the amount of Pell Grants by 45%.
Well, there you go again, Charlie. Charlie seems to circle around the truth, but he can never quite get to it. It was the Democrats under he and Nancy Pelosi that put a sunset clause in the law that allowed those low interest rates for student loans to expire. Let me ask you a question. Are the student loans high today? No. You know why? Because I voted along with the Republican-led House to keep them down. What he is telling you is absolutely not true. Let the Department of Education in Washington get out of the way. Let the states control education. We'd have a better education system, folks.
All right, thank you, panelists. We're going to proceed to the closing statements. Gentlemen, you have 2 minutes. Congressman Johnson.
Well, again, thank you all for being here this evening. It is indeed a good turnout, and it's exciting to see this much interest in what I think is going to be one of the, if not the most important election in our lifetime. Look, you're going to have a choice on November 6th to choose a difference between leading and following. Let's go back to the war on coal. The war on coal began before Barack Obama even came into office. It started in 2009. Where was Charlie Wilson in 2009 and 2010? Show me one speech on the House floor that he gave in support of the coal industry. Show me one letter that he wrote to his leadership in support and advocacy for the coal industry. Show me one press conference that he conducted to ask the administration to stop their war on coal. I have led. I'm one of the few freshmen that have had 5 bills pass the United States House of Representatives in my first term. One of them was signed into law. One of them was called the Stop the War on Coal Act. It was not signed into law yet. We're waiting to see what the Senate does with it. But I worked for 2 years to build bipartisan support to stop the administration's war on coal and the killing of thousands of coal and coal industry related jobs. Let's talk about Charlie's vote on cap and trade. He wants a pat on the back for not voting for cap and trade. You know, he actually did vote for cap and trade. His first vote was for Nancy Pelosi as Speaker of the House, folks. She is the champion of cap and trade. She is the one that led the charge to jam it down the American people's throats. If he wins again in November, which I'm going to work awfully hard to see doesn't happen, that'll be his first vote again.
Thank you, Congressman. Johnson said at the beginning that the stimulus was a waste and it shouldn't have been done. It was millions and millions of dollars of tax breaks for small business. It was $42 million just to Jefferson County alone. $2 million to this very school we're sitting in right now. The entire sewage system for Crestview and Bellevue had been funded by a grant that I brought home from the agriculture budget. It was $10 million. They've been trying to do that project for 20 years. Couldn't get the legs to do it. We got it done. We made a difference. As far as the war on coal, the bill that Bill Johnson put out, introduced, and it passed the House, I asked him, I would have voted the same way. I would have voted to end the war on coal. But did he talk to anyone in the Senate? He said it'll die on the floor before it got out of the House, because he didn't talk to anybody. He didn't try to negotiate with anybody. That's what's missing, ladies and gentlemen. People in Washington don't talk to each other. With Tea Party guys like Bill Johnson, you've got my way or the highway. That's what's wrong. Okay, everybody, let's settle down.
Don't pick on the Tea Party.
Thank you. We're going to now turn our attention to the candidates vying for state senator, 30th district, to give opening statements. Once again, gentlemen, you have 1 minute. Senator Gentile.
Well, good evening. It's great to be here with all of you. I'm State Senator Lou Gentile. I want to thank Eastern Gateway Community College for hosting this and the Chamber of Commerce. I'm proud to be from this community. I'm proud of the people, many of whom are here today, including my mother and father, who helped raise me and instill in me a belief that we must do everything we can to give back to our community. And I fought hard for our part of Ohio. As the Assistant Director in Ohio's Governor's Office of Appalachia, I helped bring funding to our area for job training programs, for critical infrastructure projects. As a legislator, I've been very effective, all while standing up against those in Columbus who have tried to advance an agenda that I think will hurt our local communities. I've passed good laws that I think will protect Ohio's workers and create living wage jobs in our part of Ohio. And I look forward to a continued debate here about the issues and not the attacks that special interests in Columbus are doing on my record. I'm proud of the work I did. I work for you, not the special interests.
Thank you, Senator.
Okay, I'm trying to stay very still. Thank you all for coming out. The turnout is absolutely amazing. It's fantastic. It's both inspiring and encouraging that you all care, because elections do have consequences. So the more you know about the candidates, the better the results that you're going to get going forward. I guess I should have read the rules a little bit more carefully, because in my notes I had that I stand before you here as a proud son and coal miner. I guess I have to say I sit before you here as a proud son of a coal miner and grandson of coal miners, a very fortunate husband and a blessed father. So I want to tell you a little bit about me and my ideas, and why you should vote for me to go and represent your interest in Columbus. Thanks.
Okay, our panelists will now begin their questions.
We'll try to begin with Mr. Gentile. Let's talk about education again, but this time within Ohio.
What changes should be made to ensure that funding is adequate across the state?
thank you for that question. As the son of a school teacher, I care deeply about public education in
on,
our community. We have, unfortunately, a budget bill that was passed by Governor Kasich and the legislature that cut this budget on the backs of public education. Millions of dollars, billions of dollars were cut in this budget, and it was done on the backs of education in our local governments. We need to finally resolve the problem we have with relying upon property taxes in the state. For far too long, we've had a system that put the burden on our property taxpayers. We've got to move away from that system. And I believe putting in place what we had before, which was largely dismantled under Governor Strickland, a budget that gave us an evidence-based model that over time would slowly increase the state's share of funding to local school districts. We need to get back to a system that does that. This budget increased by $2 billion. And in that process, by increasing the budget by $2 billion, schools took huge, massive cuts right here in Jefferson County, districts from throughout the region. So I'm committed to fighting for public education in the state.
Not being a politician, as I got into this, I wanted to learn more about how the funding was deficient. So I read the Supreme Court rulings, but I guess my initial approach to it was to wonder about what are the outcomes that we're looking for. And I wasn't saying this to obfuscate the question of funding. I was simply saying what measurables do we want. China is graduating 600,000 engineers a year. India, 300,000. The United States, about 75,000. So do we need to rethink our outcomes and push math, science? I guess these were the things in thinking about funding. Structurally here in Ohio, do we have problems? Sure. The biggest problem that I see in looking at it is the disparity of funding between Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Columbus, Buckeye Local, Toronto, and Steubenville. There's about a $6,000 per pupil per year disparity, and that needs to change.
Mr. Thompson, this question's for you. Communities across the state of Ohio are facing the loss of local government funds. Is there anything the legislature can do to help ease the burden on local municipalities?
Yes. Cut regulations, cut taxes, make Ohio more competitive. Specifically with shale gas, right now, there's the